What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. What have we got? 3 days, I think, until the Reds take on Manchester City in what's going to be a massive game in the Premier League. We've got loads of news to get through tonight. We'll be talking about a potential new contract for Fabinho. We'll be talking about the links to Erling Haaland and David Alaba and many players that we've been linked to recently as well. We'll be talking about a few more bits and pieces, but look, we'll also be breaking some massive news for our channel in a few moments as well. So look, as always, thank you all for being with us. I hope that you're well. I hope that life's treating you good wherever you are right now. And look, I hope that you're enjoying the Reds experience as much as I am. Is anybody else fully on board the Diogo Jota hype train? Because I'm not on board. I think I'm driving it at this point. Well, maybe I'm co-piloting it alongside Mr. Crosby because he was on that hype train long before I was. How are we, ladies and gentlemen? Lovely to see you in. Hello to everybody that's saying hello. Love the shirt. A lot of people comment on it, and it's the pre-match European shirt, and I was lucky enough I got it really early when it came out. But I can promise you, if you're thinking of getting one, you'll love it. You really, really will. It's one of the better products from Nike, that, in my opinion, anyway. But look, there's a lot of nice stuff out there, isn't there? Look, I hope you're all well. I know that we're in the midst of Europa League right now, but I appreciate you guys tuning in and joining us. And I promise you, there's some huge news for the channel coming up in a few minutes. Mark Mighty Red, welcome back to Anfield Agenda FC, buddy. Mark has signed back up to become a member of the channel. Lovely. How are you, sir? Captain Clun, hello to you as well. How's she cutting, Craig? Proper Irish stuff there. Proper Irish stuff indeed. I love it. I love it. Not sure when Jota came in, but what a play we have now, said Sarah Marshall. Good evening. Good evening to everybody. Hello to Mr. Morrissey and everyone else that's in the chat. Joanne's in the house as always. How are you? Killian. Oh, that's very kind of you, mate. Says I love you. Love you too, buddy. Well, I do love a good love in here on Anfield Agenda, folks. It's great. Life's great, isn't it? I mean, Diogo Jota, hat-trick away in European competition. Mohamed Salah equaling Steven Gerrard's European goal-scoring record for the Reds, and in a fraction of the time as well. Do you remember him, the one-season wonder, Mohamed Salah? Yeah, what a joke that phrase has turned out to be. Diagwich said somebody else, which means how are you in Irish as well, by the way, to those that haven't got a clue what we're talking about. Far Isle's working away but listening in. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you a choice. You can pick. Do you want me to talk about the big Anfield Agenda breaking news, or do you want me to get straight into talking about Fabrizio Romano and Fabinho's contract? Or do you want to get into transfers? You guys tell me what to do, because as always, ladies and gents, this is your show. You tell me what the crack is, and I'll just read some stuff out there and we'll have a bit of a laugh along the way. Haaland is destined to be a Liverpool legend. Look, we'll get on to that, mate. We'll get on to that really quick. Breaking news, agenda. Look, this is why I love you guys. Look, the greedy fuckers with the transfers. There's always a few, isn't there? You think, oh, look at these lovely people wishing the channel well, and then transfers. I'm only here for transfers. I get it. I'd be the same. I'd be wanting the transfer stuff as well. Look, the announcement, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Do you notice anything different about this screen right now? 3, 2, 1. Uh-oh. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see in the bottom corner of the screen right now, we're absolutely delighted to announce that Anfield Agenda is now sponsored and in partnership with Boyle Sports, and we're very much looking forward to that relationship moving forward. Weekly now, you'll see me having a chat with Leon from Boyle Sports about special bets coming up for Anfield Agenda members, other bits and pieces as well. Leon will be with me tomorrow. We'll be filming something for the preview segment ahead of the Manchester City game of the weekend, and we're going to have lots of freebies and stuff to give away to you guys as well. We just finished and completed the deal today, so the absolute details of what we're going to be able to do moving forward with content will be coming along the way. But yes, Anfield Agenda, I'm proud to say, is now officially sponsored by Boyle Sports. And do you know what? We've been approached by a lot of betting companies over the years, and sometimes we shy away, sometimes we think it's not the right fit. But from the moment we sat down and spoke with Boyle Sports, we got a sense of exactly what the company is about. They are so friendly, warm and welcoming. They're very, 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 they're very confident, and they're very, what's the phrase I'm looking for here, ladies and gentlemen? They're very intent on making sure that people gamble responsibly. And that came across in spades when I spoke to Leon and the guys over there. They want people to be putting the fivers and the tenors on, to be having fun and enjoying what they do. And that was very important for us, because the conversations we had with them never spoke about money, never spoke about bets. It was always how we can improve the content, how we can give you guys, the watcher, the viewer, a better experience. And we couldn't have asked for a better partner to team up with. So, as you can see, we now officially have a sponsor. And thank you very much to Boyle Sports for coming on board. And look, we look forward to moving this relationship on. We look forward to having some special previews and some special pop-up bets and offers for you guys as well. If you aren't somebody that enjoys gambling, I absolutely understand where you're coming from. There are going to be people who dislike this, and I understand it and I appreciate it. But I cannot stress enough the importance of how seriously they came across from Boyle Sports, that they want to adhere to responsible gaming, that they want to promote responsible gaming, and that was the seal of the deal for me, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm very cautious in the way I approach these type of things, and from moment one we just felt it was a good fit. So look, you'll see lots of stuff coming forward in relation to herself and Boyle Sports. Leon will be joining me tomorrow. We'll do a full preview for the City game as well. But look, thank you very much for everyone that's saying congratulations and stuff like that. It's yeah, it means a lot. It really does. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk about Boyle Sports down the line. There's more stuff to come from Boyle Sports, special offers, loads of bits and pieces. But tonight, there is some big breaking news. Fabrizio Romano has revealed that the club are in talks with Fabinho about extending his contract at the club. Speaking to the Here We Go podcast, Mr. Romano had to say, talks are going to start for Fabinho to extend his contract with Liverpool. It's the same situation as Virgil van Dijk. They have the same contract. Both have 2 years remaining. Fabinho wants to extend his contract with Liverpool. He gave an interview explaining he's so happy with Liverpool and why he's happy for the future of Liverpool. He's been talking to Jurgen Klopp about what's going to happen in the future and with the future of the club. So he wants to extend his contract, and next year I'm convinced he's going to talk with Liverpool to extend his contract. His agents are waiting for a call from Liverpool. The situation is so calm because he has had a bid last summer from a top club in Spain and he decided to stay at Liverpool. So he's convinced that his future is at Liverpool, and next year we're going to start to talk about a new 4-5 year contract at the club. That is absolutely fantastic news and exactly the type of stuff that I want to be hearing. So we're expecting new contracts for Fabinho. We're expecting new contracts for Virgil van Dijk. That's the breaking news tonight coming from Fabrizio Romano. So it's not the Haaland stuff. I promise you we'll get there soon. Damien Herbert said, great news. Well done with the sponsorship. You'll never walk alone. Thank you guys very much. Haaland's former club, Houlden the Gunners, 1-1 so far, said Rabadam. Yeah, I was seeing that, mate, just before I came on. It's 1-1 at Molde. Do you know what I mean? It's the Europa League. What is that again? That's that B-Tech competition, isn't it, for clubs that can't quite make it to the big boy league. It's all right. I understand. I mean, best of luck to them on their Thursday night. What do we call it? The Emmerdale Cup, isn't it? What Goals calls it, something like that. I know Bobby is a fan, but we should sell and get Sancho next summer, said Sarah Marshall. We'll move on to that whole conversation in a couple of minutes, Sarah, because there's a load I want to get through in relation to the weekend, of course, in relation to how we could potentially line up against Manchester City. But I don't want to give away too much, because tomorrow I'm going to do a full preview. We'll integrate it into tomorrow night's late night agenda. So I'll have my starting 11, my score predictions. And the reason I'm hanging off is, well, I'm not really hanging off actually, because I always do the previews 2 days beforehand, but I just want to get some more information with regards to training and who's available and stuff like that, because I know one of the burning questions that we're all asking is Thiago Alcantara going to be available for the game, and the honest answer is I don't know. He didn't train with the rest of the group today. That doesn't mean he wasn't doing some work perhaps behind closed doors, but he wasn't out there with the main group. So you'd really need and want to see him out there tomorrow training to be in with a realistic chance of making the squad for the game against Manchester City on Sunday at the Etihad. It's already a massive game in the season. People look at the league table right now and think that Liverpool could extend their lead a little bit, but it's important to remember that Manchester City do have a game in hand. So let's say, heaven forbid, we went to the Etihad and lost, they won the game in hand. I think that'll put them a point ahead of us. So, we want to be going there with the intent to get something from the game. If you can go to the Etihad early in the season like this, pick up 3 points away from home, it's laying down a real marker and it's opening up a gap in the Premier League for you. So yeah, fingers crossed, ladies and gents. There's lots to get through tonight. Bobby should move back to Germany. Let me make something very, very clear on the stream before we move on. This Bobby Firmino hatred or this Bobby Firmino knocking needs to stop. We need to knock this stuff on the head, ladies and gentlemen. We are Liverpool. We are Liverpool fans. The phrase "you'll never walk alone" doesn't mean it's just 4 letters. It's not 4 words. It's not just something we throw out there. You'll never walk alone is a way of life. We need to put our arm around Roberto Firmino and let him know, all right, Bobby, it's not your time right now, mate. You're not in the best of form, but we've got your back. We're here for you. We know there are brighter days ahead. So I don't understand Liverpool fans, or I hesitate to use the phrase fans, for anybody who's knocking Bobby Firmino. Do not forget what Roberto Firmino has done since he's come to this club. Do not forget the important goals that he scored. Do not forget the hard work that he puts in. And do not forget the pressing and the expertise that he brings to this group. He is the heartbeat of that Liverpool system. And Jurgen Klopp loves Roberto Firmino, as do I, and as do most other sensible Liverpool fans. So rather than give the guy hate, why not put an arm around him? Why not put up a post on social media letting Bobby know that we've got his back? That we're here for him, that everybody goes through some bad times. We speak about this on the stream. We speak about people out there perhaps going through a bad time and how we need to be here for each other. Same applies to footballers. It doesn't matter if Roberto Firmino is a multi-millionaire. Who cares? He's one of our boys. And if he's not gone through a run of form that we're happy with or he's happy with, we need to be there to back him up. Doesn't mean he won't get rotated. That's a different conversation. But some of the posts that I'm seeing are just beyond ridiculous, folks. I mean, it's Bobby. It's Bobby. Get behind him, for Christ's sake. Kev Wright said Bobby will always hold a special place for me. Thank you very much for that, Kev. I absolutely agree with you, by the way, as well. Gotta love Fun Bobby said, what's that one? Koba the Dread? That's a very long name, mate. Any news on Mbappe? Yeah, same news that I've been telling you for ages, mate, in that he won't be coming to Liverpool Football Club. We're not going to pay anybody 400 or 500 grand a week, and unfortunately Kylian Mbappe will command a wage somewhere around that one. So yeah, the news is that he won't be coming to Liverpool, as far as I'm aware, anyway. What have we got? The 694 people watching now, folks. Look, as you can see, 300 subscribers away from 57k. So if you're enjoying the stream, you know what to do. Again, welcome to anyone that's watching us for the first time. Wherever in the world you are, it is lovely that you've taken time out of your evening to be here with us on Anfield Agenda. And you know what? We really appreciate it, folks. We really do. Jota or Firmino? That's a good headache. I mean, it's an honest question, and that's a question that we can talk about. That's a question that we have a right to talk about as fans. Should Bobby Firmino be rotated? Should he be rested? Should he be given a little breather? Well, Diogo Jota's in the form that he's in. That's one conversation, and that's fans have a right to critique players. But this sell him, this he's finished, this some of the stuff that I've seen on social media is just, it's not the Liverpool way, ladies and gentlemen. It just is not. And I'm not here preaching, I'm not here telling people how to support a club, but I can tell you how not to support any club. And a player who's going through a sticky patch right now doesn't need reminding of it. He doesn't need being told that he should be dropped. He needs an arm around his shoulder. That's what we need to do, folks. Next, I want you all at home during the game. So give yourself an out blast to see Senor and let Bobby know that he'll get the vibes, he'll feel it. Maybe I'm being a little bit optimistic here. Is he Irish? Indeed he is, sir. Indeed he is. Is there any news on David Alaba or Upamecano? Again, I'll go through the transfer talk in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot to get through tonight, so bear with me. Did anyone see Upamecano's performance, by the way, for Leipzig against PSG? We did a watch-along of it on our second channel, Mundo Sporto, and it wasn't a great performance from Mr. Upamecano. He got himself booked early on, gave away a penalty, was at fault for the first goal. His pass was intercepted by Moise Kean, and then he rolled it through to Di Maria, who knocked it into the net. And then moments later, he gave away a penalty, got himself booked, and thankfully for them, Di Maria missed the penalty, and Leipzig went on to win the game 2-1. So it's I don't know. I'm a little bit shaky on the Upamecano stuff at the minute. I'm just wondering, is all this talk perhaps getting to him? Do you think links to Liverpool, links to Manchester United? And he is still very, very young. What got to me most, though, watching Upamecano's performance for Leipzig, and what worried me the most, was how easily he was being bullied by Keane up front. He was being pushed off the ball consistently. And Dayot Upamecano is a big dude. Like, he's a big, big fella. And yes, he's still young, but I was shocked. I was shocked to see how easily he was brushed off the ball. It worried me a little bit, if I'm being honest, folks. We need to sign a centre-back, said Liverpool Channel. Look, we'll go through that. Let's start with David Alaba. Heck, let's move to the transfer talk. Actually, one more thing before we do move to transfer talk. You've probably seen this floating around, but the good news looks like the Premier League are finally going to drop this pay-per-view nonsense that we've been lambasted, or that we've been hit with this season. It's they've been lambasted, I should say, for the $14.99 that they're trying to charge fans to watch football. I'm so proud of football fans right around the world, up and down the UK, wherever the hell you are, for standing up and letting these broadcasters know that it's not right. We're not going to pay it. We already pay enough for our subscriptions to watch football. To put another barrier between fans and the team is just ridiculous. So well done to everybody that either gave money, donated to food banks, or just stood up for the cause and let it be known on social media or wherever that they're not willing to pay this money. So it looks like common sense will prevail. It looks like from next week onwards this is going to be dropped at least until the end of the season. Whether it gets revisited at a lower price point or not, I suppose remains to be seen. But it is ridiculous, and I'm so proud of football fans. Yes, we all have our own clubs and allegiances, but it just shows again, if people come together and speak up as a unit, people will listen, and if it's done the right way. So well done to everyone for everything that they've done in relation to that, particularly those that gave to the local food banks. I mean, that's a beautiful gesture, so lots of love to everybody out there. What is this news about Haaland? All good things, mate. All good things. Let's start with David Alaba. So let's get into the transfer news, ladies and gentlemen. David Alaba. There's still multiple reports out there saying that Liverpool are in the race to sign David Alaba from Bayern Munich. But personally, I don't think it's true. I'm going to go through a couple of reasons why. And of course, as always, I'd love to know your feedback on this. So if you disagree with what I'm saying, or if you've got a different viewpoint or a piece of information that I haven't spoken about or that I haven't touched on, again, I'd love to know your thoughts. But sources close to Bayern Munich, mainly Christian Falk, who is very close to the club, believe that Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain and Manchester City are the three clubs that are seriously interested. Concrete interest, I think was the word that Christian Falk used. But David Alaba has apparently set his sights on a move to Spain, namely to Barcelona or to Real Madrid. Now, one report from Spain believes that David Alaba told Bayern Munich that he wants €12 million a year, which equates to just over €230,000 a week, to agree a new deal. Now, that's a lot less than some of the figures that I've seen bandied about. I've seen some people say that David Alaba was looking for £300,000 to £350,000 a week, which would, of course, put him way out of our price range. But if you're talking about €230,000, if my maths is correct, somewhere in and around £190,000, depending on the exchange rate, which would make him a high earner at our club, one of the higher earners, but depending on what the agent's fees were and what the sign-on fee was, it isn't out of the realms of possibility financially. But you do then come back to, well, you're paying a lot of money there, €12 million a year, let's say, in wages over the course of a 4-year contract. That's 48 million quid, plus whatever his sign-on fee is, plus whatever the agent's fees are. I think personally that there's a lot better value to be had out there, and there's a smarter investments for the club to go out and look to bring through a centre back. Now, we also have good news that Billy Comedio returned to training. We have Reece Williams, of course, and Nat Phillips is still at the club. What a performance he put in last week in the league. Man of the match from Jamie Carragher as well. Obviously wasn't available for the gaffer during the week because he's not part of the Reds Champions League squad. Reece Williams stepped in and again didn't put a foot wrong. What a performance from the young man. So, centre-back options, I agree that we should go into the market in January if we can move forward a deal that, let's say, we wanted to get done next summer. You know what my preference is. It's Ben White, it's Upamecano, it's Pau Torres. They're the type of players that I want to see Liverpool linked with. I just don't see the David Alaba thing. It doesn't seem like a Liverpool signing. And again, I'll point to the fact we brought in Thiago in the summer. If we wanted David Alaba, we probably could have done a similar type deal at that moment in time. Whether David Alaba sees out the season with Bayern Munich, I mean, we've got a similar headache with Gini Wijnaldum right now. Albeit Gini Wijnaldum, of course, is a model professional, and if he does run down his Liverpool contract, you will still be guaranteed he'll be putting in 100% week in and week out. That's what Gini does. You don't get anything but 100% from Gini. I'm baffled. What do you guys think? I mean, I'm going to turn it over to you before I move on to the Haaland stuff and a few other transfer links that's been around. I want to know your genuine thoughts on Alaba. Is it just an easy transfer because we know that he can be gotten in January, or we know that his contract is running down? Yes, he can play in a couple of positions. He can play left back, he can play left of a back three, he can play centre back, he can play in midfield. But again, that age bracket, no doubting about his experience. You can't argue with the man's quality either, but I would just like to see a centre-back brought through that will be at the club for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years, maybe with an eye to Joel Matip moving on down the line perhaps as he gets a little bit older. Yilber said, I told you, Craig, Konate is better than Upamecano. Yes, there is him. There's also the guy from Sevilla, what's his name again? Koundé. He looks like a very good centre-back as well, but again, probably be a very high price if you were to look at Jules Koundé. not what we need, or what we need is money, said Ross Gordon. The money thing, by the way, is a very interesting conversation that I want to have later on around the Red Ball Acquisition Corp, or Red Ball Corp, or whatever they call it, the Billy Bean funded group that looks like they could be taking a stake in FSG. We'll discuss that later on and the potential outcomes that could have for the football club. Rob, I agree with what Rob says here. We need a young defender to join Liverpool and one for the future. Harry Maguire is available for 85 cents. Still too much money, mate. Do you know what I mean? You can pick up a fridge much cheaper than that these days. Go on to Dundee or whatever. You pick one up handy enough. TRD Nugent said, don't think we'll be signing any defenders. It is a difficult one, isn't it? Because you look at it and go, right, we could probably do it one. But then at the same time, we're seeing this progression from the youngsters. And we haven't even spoken about Sepp van den Berg there, by the way. So we're talking about 4 centre-backs that can all potentially stake a claim to be part of Jurgen Klopp's first team squad moving forward. And we've got Fabinho, of course, coming back from injury. There are some rumours, by the way, that Fabinho may be available for the weekend, but I'm not buying it. As far as I'm aware, he's back. He's not back till after the international break. But look, that's transfer gossip number 1, or transfer rumour number 1. The second one is a defender from Schalke, but not the one that you're probably thinking of. You're probably thinking, when you hear me say a defender from Schalke, Ozan Kabak. That's not actually the guy I'm talking about. Malik Thiaw, I believe is how you pronounce the gentleman's name. Multiple sources have posted that Liverpool have an interest in the young man. Schalke deal runs until 2024, but it does include a reasonable buyout clause. Now, I don't for the life of me know what that is, but it is apparently reasonable, whatever reasonable is in this day and age. What I would say is that Schalke are cash strapped, which is why you're seeing Ozan Kabak linked with a move away, which is why you're seeing a number of Schalke's players linked with moves away. They are a little bit cash strapped, as are many clubs, obviously, with what's going on around the world right now. Ozan Kabak, again, strongly linked to Inter, or AC Milan, not Inter Milan, Craig, AC Milan. And you wonder, is it the club or the agent maybe just putting stuff out there to try and gather up a bit of interest, maybe try and get a bidding war to get a player out. I still stand over what I say. Ozan Kabak, to me, does not seem like the type of player Klopp would bring in. I'm basing this off that spitting incident, by the way. It just doesn't seem like the type of character that Klopp would bring into our dressing room if there's any potential to destabilise the harmony that's there at the minute. So I don't think that one's going to happen. But this Malik Thiaw guy, I don't, hand on heart, know nothing about him. I'm handing it over to you guys there. Anyone for a bit of insight on him? And look, the Haaland one is the last one I'll be talking about, but let me just get through a few of your comments before we get there. Not sure what Alaba would bring to the team that we haven't got already. Again, that's a very good comment. Don't talk about Sepp. Brutal. Graham, he's, 18 years of age, mate? Something like that. Learning his trade. I guarantee you call him brutal. He's better than you and me, mate. I can guarantee you that one. And look, don't write anybody off. We've seen a lot of late bloomers. Nat Phillips now is only really getting a look in, and he's 23, 24 years of age. So for a centre-back at 18 years of age, it's very unusual for him to play. That's why Matthias de Ligt went for so much, because to get that experience that he had and look as composed as he did, albeit it hasn't quite worked out yet at Juventus. I don't want any of our younger players written off yet, and I don't understand why any of our fans would do that. I mean, I have to take into account, of course, some of the guys that are coming and commenting on here could be opposition fans coming in for a bit of a laugh, but there you go. What do I think of Joe Gomez? I have to be honest and say I flip-flop on the Gomez stuff. Sometimes you see Joe Gomez and it looks like there's a little lack of concentration, but I've got to be honest, since VVD's picked up that injury, I've started to see a bit more leadership qualities in Joe Gomez, and I've started to see him portray himself a bit more confidently, and almost like he's puffing his chest out a little bit, and himself and Reece Williams put in an almost faultless performance. Well, actually it was faultless away against Atalanta because we kept a clean sheet. And that's not an easy place to go. I mean, especially when you're the senior pro there in Joe Gomez, which sounds weird to say already, but he was the senior centre-back in that game, and himself and Reece Williams did not put a foot wrong. So if Joe Gomez could keep going the way that he's going, again, a quality footballer. I mean, of our centre-backs, Matip would be the one long-term you think would move on because of his age bracket and stuff as well. And of course, there's no denying that, unfortunately, Matip picks up a lot of knocks. But again, when he's fit and available, he can be a very, very good player. If Matip could stay fit, we wouldn't need a new centre-back, but we know what he's like, said Ash Q. Unfortunately, mate, yes, that's the point. Nobody questions Joel Matip's ability. There's nothing I love to see more than Joel Matip going on one of his jaunts into the opposition half, carrying the ball forward. I love that. And he's got a good range of passing as well. Obviously, he's great in the air. But it's difficult right now, and these youngsters, and often we talk about this, so we're a little bit hypocritical as fans here. We'll all say that we want youngsters to break through when we want them to get experience. This is an opportunity for these youngsters to be getting experience. And you know what? They're doing it. They're doing it. Reece Williams, what else can this lad do? If he doesn't get an opportunity to continue to show his progression, what else can he possibly do? He's played in all 3 of Liverpool's Champions League games, albeit 2 of them as a substitute. Started away against Atalanta. Then you've got Nat Phillips, who came in completely out of the cold. Looked like he was on his way to Bristol City, or to the Championship anyway, in the transfer window. Nothing materialised. He comes in, he puts in a man of the match performance. So, the gaffer has some headaches, but there's some good headaches to have, you know. Now, the big one, the one that you're all here to talk about, is of course Erling Haaland. And excuse me for any Norwegians if I'm mispronouncing his name. I know that you're supposed to, I think, elongate the Haaland or something like that, but I'm known for butchering people's pronunciations of their name. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, Erling Haaland. So here we go. The Dortmund CEO has come out publicly and denied the reports that Haaland has a release clause that becomes active next year in his contract. This is what he had to say. There's no such agreement, and it's not about that. It's about convincing the player about the club and about our plans. We have a clear wish for Erling to stay with us, and we want to convince him and his agent to do that. I'm confident on that front. I think Erling feels at home with BVB. He definitely made the right choice to come here to us last winter. To take another step so soon, I'd consider that the wrong decision for him personally. And all this comes after Salzburg sporting director came out and said that he believes that Erling Haaland will land at Liverpool. I think he said next summer, if I'm being correct, at least when he leaves Dortmund. Now, I want to just pick up on something that the Dortmund CEO has said there. He said that there is no buyout clause that comes into effect next summer, and that's false. That's true, but there is a buyout clause. It doesn't come into effect until 2022, and to the best of my knowledge, that buyout clause is €75 million. So what do you do then if you're a club like Liverpool? Well, this is what I think may happen. Cast yourselves back to the Naby Keita incident, or the Naby Keita deal, the way we took him from Leipzig. We may see Michael Edwards go and do a similar thing. So we know that in 2022, Haaland has this buyout clause, €75 million, probably equates to about £60-65 million. So what you might happen, or might see happen, is Liverpool, Michael Edwards go to Dortmund and maybe put a deal in place to get him at the end of this season. Maybe try and sort that out in January. Maybe pay a little premium. Maybe pay a little bit on top. Maybe send a young player or 2 over to Dortmund in the opposite direction to gain experience. There are ways that this deal can be done. You've seen me say no to Koulibaly. You've seen me say no to Kylian Mbappe. You've seen me say I'm on the fence about Sancho, whether it's possible. I can 100% tell you that a deal to take Erling Haaland to Liverpool is possible. That much I can guarantee you. Financially it stacks up. Age profile it stacks up. Ability wise it stacks up. Everything stacks up. The relationship is there as well. I know you're going to see him linked to United. You're going to see him linked to Real Madrid. But honestly, I think this is the one. I think Erling Haaland will eventually become a Liverpool player. And I say this full of confidence, and it's come from nowhere. But the more people I speak to about this, the more I look into this situation, the more articles I read, the more journalists' stuff that I read, I do think this will make sense. And I said to you earlier on that I wanted to bring this all around to Red Corp acquisition, or Red Ball acquisition, whatever the name of the company is that Billy Bean has set up to try and invest in FSG. There's a lot of talk now that they're very close to obtaining a 25% share in FSG's holdings, and that would include everything. That would include Liverpool Football Club, that would include the Red Sox, and all the other interests that FSG have. So how does that affect Liverpool? Well, it will free up capital, it'll free up money. And this is the type of statement that you'd want to make. If you're bringing in a new investor like this, you've got Nike on board, lots of things going in the right direction. Erling Haaland is the missing piece. Erling Haaland is Jurgen Klopp's second team. I'm so excited about this potential. I'm not telling you it's a done deal. Do not go out there, quote me and say it's a done deal. All I'm telling you, or all I'm saying, is that of all the deals, the big names that we've seen linked to Liverpool Football Club, this is the one that can be done. This is a deal that Liverpool Football Club are capable of doing from a financial aspect. And of course, the pulling power of Liverpool is tremendous because of where we are right now as a club. The manager that we have, the manager that's committed himself to 2024 and may commit himself beyond. The excitement that I'm feeling right now, ladies and gentlemen, I can't even... It came from nowhere. Like, it all started with this comment from the Salzburg sporting director that said he expects him to land at Liverpool. That took us all by shock. All of us. But then we see more stuff start to come out, and I've read a few very good articles. Actually, I'd recommend you guys to go on to Liverpool.com and check out stuff over there. Joe Rabinowitz has wrote some good stuff on the possibilities of what will happen if we get the cash injection. There's more plans in place as well to improve the area around Anfield. The money for the Anfield Road end stand, that money is put away in escrow already. So there are plans afoot, ladies and gentlemen. Liverpool Football Club and FSG have unfinished business. And I'm getting really excited about this, because just when we think life as a Liverpool fan can't get any better, the potential of Mr. Haaland coming in, his post-match interviews alone will be worth the money, by the way. But I think it's possible. I think it's doable. I think it may take us to splash out maybe €100 million, something like that, a little bit on top to sweeten the deal. I agree, by the way, with the Dortmund CEO that I think Haaland's in the right place now at this time in his career. And even if Liverpool have to play the long game, even if we have to wait until 2022, I think this deal will be done. It might be that he stays at Dortmund another season, and as I said, we pay a little sweetener on top for the first refusal. But keep your eye on this situation, ladies and gentlemen, because can you imagine our attacking options? Diogo Jota is only 23 years of age. We have young Harvey Elliott, who's on loan right now as well. He looks sensational. Curtis Jones coming through. And then we have the attack that we have right now as well. Yes, they're getting on in age, 29, 30 years of age. But again, footballers these days can play to 33, 34. I'm so excited about this. I can't even hide my excitement. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's possible? I know United fans are almost convinced that they're signing him, but then again, they were convinced they were signing Sancho. And they're always convinced that they're signing everybody, but their club right now, from the outside, looks like an absolute shambles. And it's all good. It's all good in the red neighbourhood, ladies and gents. Marcus Kverin, I hope, thank you for the super chat, mate, said Liverpool is by far the most supported club here in Norway, and Haaland would love to play at Anfield. As a Norwegian, I would love if he came. I can't pronounce that name. Yeah, I think you're just putting in a bit of Norwegian there, mate, and hopefully any Norwegian viewers can see your comment and read it out, but I'm not having a bash at speaking Norwegian. But what I can tell you is we're going to have Jan Fjortoft on in a couple of weeks' time to have a chat around everything football related. So, of course, I'll be asking Jan for his insight on the potential Haaland deal as well. So, yeah, brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. It's all good. Let me see what you guys think anyway. Mbappe over Haaland, said Robbie Love. Yes, mate, but this isn't Football Manager. We can't just go out there and grab players we want. Mbappe's wages will probably be double, at least minimum, of what Haaland would be willing to come for. Mbappe probably talking minimum £500,000 a week, I'd imagine, and that would absolutely smash our wage structure. So I won't deny Kylian Mbappe is a wonderful footballer, but I've always said it's very unlikely that those numbers would add up from a Liverpool perspective. Brian said, are you saying the escrow money is just resting in our account? A little bit of a nod to Father Ted there for Mr. Morrissey. Yes, at least that's what I read in the article earlier on. What else we got? Jones was class against Atalanta and Diogo Jota, but we have such a strong second team. It's great. Irish Gar, isn't it? It's really coming together. What else we got? Would he get game time and who would he replace? Why are we always obsessed with replacing? Who would he replace? Who would he replace? How about he'll get into the rotation? He'll become part of the attacking options that Kloppo has. I'll give you an option here. Let's say we move on Divock Origi. Let's say Shaqiri moves on at the end of the season. I know there's a lot of fans right now who are saying, hang on there, Craig. Shaqiri's starting to show some form, and I hear you. I'm just talking about possibilities here. So that would free up a space. Then you're talking about having attacking options of Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino, Diogo Jota, Takumi Minamino, and Erling Haaland. You nearly have to stop there and take a breath, wouldn't you, just to calm yourself down a little bit. That's how it could potentially be done to free up a space in the squad. And I think we'll all agree that we'll never forget the moments that Origi's done, and hopefully we've got some more to celebrate with him. But he probably has fallen down the pecking order at Liverpool since the arrival of Diogo Jota as well. So yeah, it's exciting times, but nothing's guaranteed yet. But what makes me happy about this the most, ladies and gentlemen, is that even if these rumours are absolute nonsense and you see Mbappe linked and all that type of stuff, how great is it that the club has been linked to these players now, probably by their agents? That's where Liverpool are right now. That's how strong of a brand that Liverpool Football Club are. Thanks to our owners, thanks to our manager and all the great staff and players that have put us right back up on our perch. Somebody said, should we sell Minamino or Shaqiri? I'm not cashing in on Minamino yet, personally. I mean, Takumi needs time to settle, deserves time to settle. And I think we'll see plenty more to come from Takumi Minamino. I just think he needs adapting to a system that suits, and I think he may get that when Thiago comes in. Come on United, said Thomas Ryan. Welcome in. Look, any clubs fans are welcome in here, mate. Again, to those of you that are coming in a little bit late, the big breaking news tonight from an Anfield Agenda point of view is that we're delighted to announce a partnership with Boyle Sports. Lots of stuff coming up between Anfield Agenda and Boyle Sports. I'm going to have Leon on from Boyle Sports tomorrow, looking ahead to the Manchester City game of the weekend, having a little chat about some Opta stats and what bets might potentially be worth looking at. We're going to do segments called Craig versus the Bookies as well. We're going to give away some bets to you guys. We're going to sort out some charity stuff as well. Lots of great stuff coming up between Anfield Agenda and Boyle Sports. And again, thank you to the guys for coming on board. I can't tell you what it means to us to be working with such a prestigious company as Boyle Sports, such a family company as Boyle Sports, because that's the feeling that I got when we spoke to them. It was a dream of a conversation. I can't put it any further. They have the same vision we have. They buy into what Anfield Agenda is, and they in no way want to mess up what we have here. They say, go ahead and do your own thing. You implement us in however you think works for you. That's what a content creator dreams of. So again, thank you to the guys at Boyle Sports, and we've got some goodies coming up for you guys as well soon. So keep your eyes tuned to Anfield Agenda. Again, check us out on Instagram as well, at Anfield Agenda, and of course on Twitter, at Anfield Agenda. But most importantly, if you're enjoying the stream, please do hit that subscribe button. Drop a like on the video as well. We're on the march to 57k, not too far away now. What have we got? I'm only joking with you, Craig. Pool all the way, said Thomas Ryan. That's alright, mate. I do appreciate a good joke. I really do. Thoughts on Manchester City and Liverpool game? Do a full preview on that one tomorrow, mate. But it's going to be a difficult game. There's no denying that. But let's stick to the Haaland situation for a minute, folks, because I want to get more of your feedback on this. I want to get your thoughts on it. Where would you think he could fit in? Oh, look, he'd fit him in anywhere. Let's be honest. Probably a silly question by me. Where would he fit in? It's Haaland. You could fit him in anywhere. Thoughts on Liverpool Man City? I've done that one. Jota will end our drought at Old Trafford. Yeah, how great is it that we're all enjoying Jota and how quickly he's settled in at the club right now. The man is just in unbelievable form, and he doesn't give people a second. He's just buzzing around everywhere. His pressing is phenomenal, and people question the fee, and rightly so, because it did seem a little bit high, 45, 46 million. I've always told you guys I felt that fee was a bit inflated because of the deal that took Keanu Hoover in the opposite direction. But even at 45, 46 mil now, Diogo Jota is starting to look like an absolute steal. We've done similar with Mohamed Salah. We've done similar with Sadio Mane. Bring these players in. People question the fees, and we make those fees look foolish by the brilliant coaching and the players themselves, of course, stepping up to the occasion. And Diogo Jota looks like a player who's ready for the big occasion. He won't fit because we ain't signing him. Okay, Graham, you go be a miserable bollocks elsewhere, mate. There you go. I mean, I'd hate to be that defeatist in life, mate, but it's not my way of looking at things. But if you want to go around with a miserable expression on your face, then go right ahead. Maybe go read one of the 50 or 60 articles, mate, that suggest possibly otherwise, given good rhyme and reason as to why. But there's always somebody, isn't there, that wants to piss in your cornflakes. Imagine Haaland and Klopp celebrating. Two nutters, said Rabadam. Imagine. I can see this now. I can see a James Milner and Erling Haaland post-match interview. I could just see that as gold. Absolute gold. Are the SAR talks over? Hand on heart, Brian. Or excuse me, that wasn't Brian, that was Mike. I don't know, is the honest answer, mate. I would imagine so. I mean, he's performing well enough for Watford. I think he scored in the recent game. I think he scored the winner, actually, in a 3-2 win. But I don't know. I mean, you'd seen SAR linked to United as well, and I'm sure that there are Premier League clubs who were going to look to go after the kid. But from our point of view, I remember reading something, I think, from Melissa Reddy at the time that said when Liverpool inquired to Watford about Ismaila Sarr, the transfer fee that they were hit with was what they found to be astronomically high. And I'm paraphrasing what Melissa said there, but basically it was a no from us as soon as the fee was come back. Haaland's the future of Liverpool. What are the rumours for Haaland? Many of them, mate, and I've gone through it already on the stream, and of course I will do a review before we finish up tonight. Brian says Jota is cheap at twice the price already. Haaland's work rate seems solid, said Base Face in Space. Remember when people raised their eyebrows at Mane's price tag? I do, Steve, yeah. And I remember it for Roberto Firmino as well. I remember it actually probably more strongly for Roberto Firmino when we signed him from Hoffenheim. I remember... wasn't he away on international duty actually, and Ian Ayre went over to Brazil or somewhere like that, certainly South America, to get that deal wrapped up. And again, when you look at what we paid for Roberto Firmino, now that seems an absolute snip as well. Do you think we're getting Upamecano? I think the question starts to turn to, is Upamecano actually the right fit? Because I don't know if he's just gone through a shaky period right now, but United fans said that Rashford ripped them apart in that game, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch United against Leipzig because I try and not watch United wherever possible. But I did watch last night's game because we were doing a watch-along of it, and he looked shaky to me. Now, there were moments he was winning aerial duels, and there were times where he played well, but he was too easily bullied by Keane, who I don't think is a very good striker in all honesty. And he was a bit iffy, gave away a pass that led to the opening goal, gave away a penalty, got himself booked. To me, Ben White's always been top of my priority list with regards to centre-backs. I know there were questions over his height and stuff, but he seems like a Jurgen Klopp player to me. And another player that I personally like is Pau Torres. So, but again, there's always the option of the one that we haven't thought of, or the one that we haven't spoken about, isn't there? I mean, we've seen it with Fabinho. We've seen it with, who else did we come completely out of the blue? We've seen it with Diogo Jota as well. Actually, interestingly enough, both of those came through the same agency, the Guest a Few agency, I think is run by George Mendes. Upamecano or Alaba? I would be Upamecano without a shadow of a doubt, mate. I mean, again, age-wise, profile-wise, that would make more sense to me than Alaba. Cody from Wolves. I know a lot of people want Connor Cody to come to Liverpool, but think about it from his perspective. He's gone and rebuilt his career. He's the captain of Wolves. He's led Wolves into Europe. I think he's settled there, and I think he plays in a system with a back three there at Wolves that suits him. I'd leave Connor Cody be. Honestly, I think he's in the right place. Is Thiago fit for the City game? The big question, Lisa, and the honest answer is, I don't know. I don't think anybody does outside of the club at this moment in time. What I can say is there were no images of him training today. That doesn't mean he didn't perhaps do some private training, but you'd really want to see him training tomorrow if he's to be considered for the game against Manchester City at the weekend. And look, I'm hoping beyond hope that we do have him available, because this is a big game. Thiago's a big game player, and that's what he was brought into the club for. So I know, just keep your fingers crossed. Wherever you are, keep your fingers crossed about Thiago. Craig, are we getting Sancho? I don't believe so, but again, things move quickly in football. I don't know what the situation will be with Sancho. I mean, I don't know if United will come back in again. I don't know if, he has his heart set on a move elsewhere. From what I've read, after the move to Manchester United didn't happen, his camp said that they were open to the possibility of anything down the line. So I don't know, but I'm more excited about the prospect of signing Haaland, because when I've read into this and looked into it in more detail, the financial aspects of it, obviously we know about that potential buyout clause that was rumoured to be this year, but it's not there. Now there's talk that it's €75 million next year. There is a deal to be done there. And as one of our viewers pointed out earlier on, Liverpool are massively supported in Norway. Maybe Haaland, would fancy a little spell on the Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. I mean, why wouldn't you? To be honest, if you're looking right now and your options would be Manchester United, Real Madrid, Liverpool, you would have to say we would be top of that pile right now. You'd have to. I mean, I can't really make a case for anybody else. Real Madrid are shambled right now, if we're being honest with ourselves. Need to rebuild massively, have financial issues, and are probably going to put all their eggs in the Kylian Mbappe basket. So, to me, it just seems like the right move. But then again, we could be blown out of the water by somebody. Somebody like Manchester City could come in, offer astronomical money and wages that we can't match. But sometimes it's about selling the right project to a player at the right time in their career. Lewis said, Craig, do you think Firmino needs to be a bit more selfish in front of goal? My personal opinion on that, and is just my opinion, is no, I don't. I think, and I know people will have different views on this, and that's sound. I just think that what Roberto Firmino does by coming deep, linking up play, trying to spin off little 1-2s, allows the other front two, whoever that might be, whether it be Jota, whether it be Salah, whether it be Mane, whoever it might be, allows them to be more creative. Now, that doesn't mean that he hasn't missed a few opportunities that he should have been scoring from. It doesn't mean that his touch hasn't been a little bit sloppy lately. His pass is maybe a yard or two in the wrong direction. That has happened. And if I'm being brutally honest with you, I thought Sadio Mane played the role infinitely better. I thought when he came deep, he made things happen, even in a tight space. I thought that front three looked exceptional. Exceptional against Atalanta. Diogo Jota was tireless. Mohamed Salah put in an amazing shift. And hand on heart, pushing loyalty aside, if I had to pick a front three for the weekend, I'd go with Diogo Jota over Roberto Firmino. But there's so much that petrifies Manchester City about Roberto Firmino. There's so much history. There's so much loyalty from Klopp to that player. That are we going to see a system with the four of them in it, which hasn't worked when we've seen it recently enough? Or are we going to see a system where maybe we stick to the 4-3-3 and Jota's on the left and Firmino's on the bench? To me, I think this whole system will knit together when Thiago becomes available. The Thiago Henderson double pivot makes more sense to me, with maybe a Bobby Firmino or even Sadio Mane dropping deeper and playing in that attacking midfield or false nine role. Or maybe we got to a 4-2-3-1, go completely the other way and play Salah straight through the centre. There are options there. And that's the reason why you bring in players like Diogo Jota to kill me Minamino, to give you these headaches and to give you these options, and also to keep the opposition managers guessing. Because you'd be guaranteed right now that Pep Guardiola is, wherever he might be in Manchester right now, scribbling down notes, going through his thought processes, not knowing if Jota's going to start, not knowing if Firmino's going to start, not knowing if Mane is going to play through the centre. One of the things against Atalanta that really impressed me was how fluid the front three were. You often seen Sadio popping up all over the place. You'd see Mane, you'd see Jota swapping sides. You'd see him over on the right hand side all of a sudden and Salah over on the left. It was brilliant, and it reminded me of the early days attacking under Jurgen Klopp when Firmino, Salah, Mane, whoever the front three were, they wandered and they just gave opposition defences ridiculous headaches because they didn't know where they were going to pick them up. They didn't know whose man it was. If you're a centre-back and you're marking Sadio Mane, what do you do? If Sadio drops deep, do you drop deep with him and allow space in behind? Or do you tell one of your midfielders to pick him up? Imagine that multiplied by 3. If you're told to man-mark somebody, it's a beautiful headache, and again, a headache that I'm sure Jurgen Klopp is happy to have. What else we got? I reckon a 4-2-3-1 with Fabinho and Hendo in the pivot. So where are you going to play Thiago then? In that system? That's what I'm a little bit confused at, Tyler. Fluid is exactly it, Craig said, base, face and space. Craig, remember Minamino played with Erling Haaland to join the team. I mean, Tiernan, I'll take that, mate. I'll take any of these positives that we can get. Any little nudges in the right direction. They're all very welcome here, my friend. I'd take De Vrij from Inter if possible. I mean, I think if we were going to sign De Vrij, it would have been when he was at Lazio. That was probably the time to get him. I think Inter Milan are trying to build something right now. And I can't see them letting him go. Again, I'm not sure of his age bracket. Off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure how old Stefan De Vrij is. Is Thiago fit for the weekend? Again, honest answer, I do not know. I wish I could say yes or no one way or the other. I'm like everybody else. I'm sitting around hoping that we see Thiago in training pictures, but as of yet, unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. Haaland would be a fantastic signing, said Jake Menz. Congratulations again, said Jack. Thank you very much. Did I miss something with Dara? Sorry, I see a lot of people wishing Dara well. I'm just trying to read up. Oh, I think it might be around Arizona. Is it? I think that's where Dara lives. I'm so sorry, Dara, and stay safe and be well, buddy. You know we love you. You know we're here for you. And you know I'm here at the other end of an email if you want to chat or anything, buddy. Who do I think will play centre-back for the City game? Now, let's push aside the rumours about Fabinho coming back early, because I don't think that's going to happen. But if it does, brilliant. To me, you're probably looking at Joel Matip and Joe Gomez, if we're being honest here. I think that is the right call. I mean, to drop Reece Williams in, he'd do a job. I'm sure Nat Phillips would do a job as well. But you'd have to say the right move there would be to play Joel Matip and Joe Gomez, if the manager deems that Matip is fit and ready enough. That's my take on it anyway. I mean, you go with experience usually. You go with the tried and tested in these big games, unless you've no choice to do otherwise. If Matip wasn't available, this would be a very interesting conversation between who gets the nod. Does Nat Phillips get the nod, or does Reece Williams get the nod? Because both have made stakes in different ways for that position. So I think Matip and Gomez personally. How can I say we're going to get Haaland? Well, if you had watched, mate, when I explained in detail about how we could get Haaland, you may know. But instead of doing that, you come in and try to be a smart arse and have a little pop. Watch back the stream, mate, if you want to know how we might be able to get Haaland. But, don't just come in and have a pop, because I don't just pull stuff out of my arse for the sake of it. I'm not somebody who's an ITK. I don't come on here and claim to have inside knowledge on anything. I come and bring you guys articles, information, and we chat about it. And you've said, how could we get him? I would explain it again, but it's 10 minutes that I probably haven't got to go through in the detail that you want. But what I can say is, the CEO of Dortmund has denied that there is a release clause for Haaland that kicks in next summer. That apparently is true, but there is a release clause. But it kicks in, from what I've read, the summer after, and it's priced at €75 million. Now the question then is, how do Liverpool go about trying to get Erling Haaland? Well, we could do a similar deal that we did with Naby Keita. Maybe we play possum and sit back and wait. Maybe we go in and do a deal that sees him stay at Dortmund for another season, and we pay a little bit on top of that 75 million to get in there first. Maybe we blow them out of the water and come in this summer and just get a deal to get them. But it is possible, and I've spoken about Red Corp acquisition and the cash injection that could be coming into the club. I've spoken about the project. I've spoken about the links to Haaland. We've got a massive Norwegian fan base as well. We've also got the Salzburg sporting director who came out and said he fully expects Haaland to land at Liverpool when he leaves Borussia Dortmund. There are so many things, mate, starting to connect these dots that it's why I think it'll make sense. And also, financially, it will make sense. We could cover his wages. He's still very young. And yes, he could have his head turned by a massive wage from elsewhere. But he strikes me as the type of lad who's trying to build his career in the right way. And when players look back on what is a relatively short career, they want to have the full collection of medals. They want to know that they're all going to be multi-millionaires at the top level at this point. It's just a matter of how many times over. And Haaland, to me, seems to be being advised the right way, because I think that the move to Dortmund was spot on. I think that was exactly the right club for him to go to. I think that he was right to have remained there amid interest from other clubs. I think he still needs to gain more experience, and he's in the right place to do that right now. Playing in a competitive league, playing in the Champions League. It just all starts to fall into place for me, mate. That's why I think, again, if you think differently, I understand, but I don't just throw these things in there to just get clicks. I genuinely try and have a conversation around why when we bring them in. At least that's how the channel is. Right, what else have we got? Mbappe. Unfortunately, it's wages. I mean, with the way Mbappe's contract has 1 year to run at the end of this season, the price tag to get him is probably achievable. You're probably talking a fee, maybe €100 million, something like that. Maybe a little bit more with 1 year left on his deal. But it's the wages. It's the 500-600 grand a week that it may take to get him. That we'd smash our wage structure. Our highest paid player, to my knowledge, is around 200 to 220 grand a week. Thiago came in right at the top of that as well, but that's an exception to the rule. Thiago's a proven superstar, Champions League winner, a World Cup winner, and a phenomenal player. It's not rocket science. He's leaving Dortmund eventually. Somebody going to buy him. We're a class. Why can't we sign him? Said Brian Morrissey. Yes, totally agree with you, Brian. Well played. What else have we got? Craig, could Bayern get Haaland since Lewandowski is old and they need a new striker? Bayern Munich are a very powerful club, very well run club with extremely deep resources. Could they try and get Haaland? Perhaps. They've brought in obviously Serge Gnabry, who's doing really well for them. They've brought in the kid from Manchester City as well, Leroy Sané, and they're starting to build a younger second team again, that evolution of that squad. But I suppose Dortmund would much rather push towards the Premier League than push to a rival. And again, if you're Erling Haaland and you've played in the Bundesliga and you've ticked that box off in your career, you probably want to go and try the Premier League then. Maybe then he goes on and tries La Liga or Serie A or wherever it might be. So, you've always got to show respect to Bayern Munich because they're a club that deserves respect. But I just think the next chapter in his career will be in the Premier League. Not having a pop, I tuned in during that topic. Again, buddy, I tried to explain again as best as I could. And if I picked up on your comment incorrectly, of course, I apologise. I never want any ill feeling on our streams. I always try and have a bit of fun on here and keep things light-hearted. So if you think I was a bit harsh, accept my apology and hopefully we move on. What is Boyle Sports? That's a good question. I know a lot of people aren't aware. Boyle Sports is a bookmaker. It's a gaming site. Much like many other, I don't even want to name rivals now because we are sponsored by Boyle Sports now, and we will have some Anfield agenda specific Boyle Sports stuff coming up. Leon from Boyle Sports will be joining me tomorrow, looking ahead to the Manchester City game of the weekend. We'll be going head to head in a little Craig versus the bookie segment moving forward as well. We're going to use Opta stats. Boyle Sports have teamed up with Opta to give gamblers, or to give people a fancy little flutter, the statistics to back their bets, and I love that. I love the idea of Opta coming in because I'm somebody that uses stats when I bet. You know, what's the player's form been like against this club? How many times has he scored recently? Do they usually have over 2.5? All this stuff, that information is available to you with Boyle Sports by clicking on the Opta section. So that's one of the tools that I love, and it's one of the reasons again that we went with them. But most importantly for us was how much they not just adhere to, but how much they preach about responsible gaming. They only want people betting fivers and tenors and enjoying themselves. They don't want people getting into trouble. And that came through shining from Leon and the guys at Boyle Sports when we spoke to them. And we are a channel that try and do things ethically in the right way. We're a family channel that want to stick together and form a community of Reds. And Boyle Sports' only interest was in enhancing that community. So it was the right fit for us. And trust me, we've turned down a few. We've turned down a few offers of sponsorship before because they weren't the right fit. But as soon as we start speaking with the guys from Boyle Sports, we just knew it was the right one. Marcus said, Haaland said it was a dream to play at Anfield and called one Dortmund player for the Stevie G. There you go. I mean, I'll keep these comments coming, folks, because anything that's going to link Haaland to Liverpool is going to get a big smile out of me as well. And look, folks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the stream, and drop a like on the video as well. When's Oxlade-Chamberlain back? I don't know, pal. I really don't know. He's on the long-term list. He's out with Fabinho and VVD, unfortunately. And not as long as Virgil van Dijk, obviously. But, yeah, look, I want Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain back as well. I love Chamberlain. I think he's a wonderful fella to have at the club. I think he's a good option for the manager when he's fit. It gives us another option to attack in a direct sense. Gives us pace. Loves a shot from outside the box. There's so much to admire. But it can be frustrating. But no player ever wants to be injured. That's one thing I'll say. Elijah John 5 said Poor Dundalk were a little bit unlucky tonight in Vienna. I kept an eye on that game, mate. I mean, 4-3. I hope they get a result in the Europa League group stage at some point. Maybe a home to one of the sides. But yeah, those early games in the Europa League tonight, a whole load of goals. Rangers went away to Benfica. Looked like they were going to get the win. Benfica went down to 10 men. Otamendi sent off for them. And that ended up 3-3. Still a good result away from home in Europe for Rangers. Celtic were losing 2-0. I don't know how that game is at the minute. Last time I checked. Big game on Sunday. Absolutely, James. Massive game on Sunday. And a full preview coming up on tomorrow night's late night agenda, folks. I'll be giving you my predicted 11. I'll be giving you my score prediction. We'll be having a chat with Leon as well from Boyle Sports about what to look out for at the weekend and what the bookies think, because sometimes the bookie get the inside scoop on a few things. So maybe we can carve out a little glimpse, a little kernel of knowledge perhaps from the bookies tomorrow. And plus, Craig versus the bookies. What more do you want? I mean, how fun is it going to be seeing me destroy the bookies? Come on, folks. What more do you want? Is Aguero fit? I know Jesus is obviously fit. There's hope that Aguero will be fit. Again, this is one of those things like us with Thiago, the manager playing their cards close to their chest. I hope he's not fit, obviously, because Sergio Aguero is absolute quality. And I never wish injury on a player, but you know, would we benefit if Aguero wasn't fit? Yeah, we would. Of course we would. James Boyd said, I think we should play Wijnaldum further forward like he plays for the Netherlands. Yeah, I suppose that system suits him as well. And again, the versatility of Gini Wijnaldum means that he can play anywhere. He can play in a 10, an 8, a 6, wherever you want him to play. He's quality. Great stream last night on Mundo Sporto, said Owen Griffiths. Thank you, mate. We've gone over 2,000 subscribers now on our second channel, Mundo Sporto. So if you haven't subscribed to it, there is a link in the description of the stream tonight. And when I touch on the Boyle Sports stuff earlier on, as I said, there is begambleaware.org there if anybody ever has any issues around gambling or wants further information on how to gamble responsibly or what tools are available to gamble responsibly. What have we got? This is Rangers' year. Got to be, said Ricky Swift. They're certainly on a great little run of form, mate, aren't they? John Higgins said they just won £180 on Rangers versus Benfica. I only bet because I believe Gerrard could pull it off. I actually won a few quid on that one myself, mate. I had both teams to score in the first half. and it came up very quickly, so I was delighted with that one. Arsenal 4-1 up, Leicester 4-0 up, Milan losing 3-0. That is a spanking for Milan, isn't it? Christ. Anthony Davis, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, buddy. The newest member to the family. And look, now with the Flick chat group being killed off, you can see why. We knew we had the deal in the works with Boyle Sports, and we wanted to channel all our energy into making this partnership work. So I told you guys I would explain why the Flick chat group was killed off. Well, this is why. Connor and I want to pour all our energies into making this partnership work and making the content as seamless as possible. So that's why we haven't got the time to dedicate to it. And if we put our name to something, we want to do it right. And if we can't do it right, it's best not to do it at all. So that's why the Flick chat group isn't there anymore. But there's lots of stuff coming up. And like Anthony Davies and like other people that have become members, if you're a member of Anfield Agenda FC, which is $4.99 a month, you do get all of these things that you're going to see on the screen there now. So you get the loyalty badges beside your name. Those badges change colour the longer you're with us. Your name will also appear in green to me and other members. You get all the custom emojis that Connor Crosby has designed, and heads up, there's a Diogo Jota one on the way. But most importantly for me, and this is just my opinion, you get access to the Anfield Agenda Discord group, which is only available for our members. And the Discord group gets a head up on everything way ahead of time. They knew about the sponsorship as soon as it was signed. First thing I did was let our members know about it. They know about the inside scoop on transfers. We sometimes give them the team news a little bit early as well, and a few other bits and pieces. So look, if you want to become a member, you know what to do. If not, just having you here with us is more than enough, folks. I really appreciate your time. Right, biggest betting win for me. I suppose it depends what way you look at it. I mean, I came frustratingly close to an amazing ACCA one time, and look, everyone has one of these stories, don't they? That I could have turned a tenner into $5,000, but I came up short with Benfica, interestingly enough. What's my biggest win? Probably about 700 or 800 quid, maybe. I mean, nothing huge, nothing life changing, but yeah, probably about that. But like everyone else, I mean, the tenors and fivers here and there makes it, for me, stuff a little bit more fun and interesting, and you know, less of a stress and a worry as well. But look, each to their own. Any news on Thiago being back? Nope. He didn't train with the main team today, mate. That's all I can say, or the main group today. Doesn't mean he didn't do some stuff behind the scenes. And again, tomorrow is a big day for that. Look, ladies and gentlemen, do I like being bald? Yes, I do. I'm not actually bald, but I love having a shaved head. Yeah, I do. I just feel cleaner. I've said this before. Look, ladies and gents, I'm going to call it a night. Again, to everyone that sent us kind words and congratulated us on teaming up with Boyle Sports, sincerely appreciate it. To those that have tuned in to watch, I really appreciate your time. As always, first and foremost for us at Anfield Agenda, we hope that you all stay safe and that you're well and that your loved ones and family are well and safe as well. Thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you tomorrow night for the preview of the Manchester City game as we build up to what will be a humongous game at the weekend against Manchester City at the Etihad. I'll be joined from Leon from Boyle Sports tomorrow for a bit of a segment. We'll work that in, magically work that in to the preview show. And look, as always, stay safe, be well, and up the Reds. Love to you all.